Hey YouTube, back with another video. Well, the holidays are here, and for a lot of folks that means a lot of shopping trying to find the perfect gift for friends and family. And one of the hottest gifts on the market this year is internet-connected smart speakers. And so if that's on your list, hopefully this video will help you out because we're going to take a look at a couple of them right now. Okay, this video is going to be a quick look at a couple of the internet-connected smart speakers on the market. The Harman Kardon Invoke and the Amazon Echo. This is the second generation Echo. And both of these are smart speakers, which means they come with a personalized digital assistant. The digital assistant on the Invoke is by Microsoft called Cortana, and the digital assistant by Amazon is called Alexa. Now you can see right now I've got both these speakers muted because I didn't want them responding as I'm trying to do this review. But let's take a quick look at what comes in the box. So what you'll find is they both come with pretty much the same set of content. The Invoke has your quick setup guide here. It has your what can you do with it, kind of instructions or hints on how to use the personal assistant. The Echo again comes with its own setup instructions and the same sort of content of what can I do with Alexa. So that's what comes in the box. These are both really good speaker systems. And they both work pretty well, which we'll get into in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at the specs on paper to see how these things match up. Okay, generally speaking, both platforms match up pretty well on paper, but there are some clear hardware differences that we're going to walk through right now. So they both come with their smart assistants, Cortana on the Invoke and Alexa on the Echo. The Invoke has a volume ring as opposed to volume up and down buttons on the Echo. They both have an action button in a way. The Echo has a very specific action button where the top is a capacitive touchscreen on the Invoke, which is your action button, and it actually has a couple different ways to use it. Tap it lightly and it will tell you a fun fact of the day. Tap it longer and it'll put it in listening mode. But you can also activate it just by saying, hey Cortana, or activate the Echo by just saying Alexa. They both have multicolored surfaces, so on the Echo it's a light pipe all the way around the outer edge. On the top of the Invoke it's a multicolored capacitive touch surface. They both have mute buttons to mute the microphones. The Invoke has a Bluetooth button. The Bluetooth is activated on the Echo by the action button or by just telling it to go into Bluetooth mode. They both have a 7-array microphone and these are far-field microphones for picking up your voice from any direction, as well as their noise canceling and stuff, so they really do try to listen to your voice, and they both work really, really well. Now where it starts to get a little bit different here is in the speaker arrangement. So on the Invoke, you have 3 1.75-inch subwoofers as well as 3 0.5-inch dome tweeters. Where on the Echo, you've got a single 2.5-inch downward firing subwoofer and a single 0.6-inch upward firing dome tweeter. So that does lead to some very clear performance differences between the two. Both sound really, really good. So don't get me wrong, the Echo sounds great, but the Invoke does sound better. You can notice a difference between the two. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth, the Invoke supports the Bluetooth 4.1 profile, where I couldn't find out what version of Bluetooth the Echo supports. I didn't see that anywhere in my research. I suspect it's 4.0 or 4.1 because that is the latest standard for Bluetooth. But what's interesting here is that the Echo supports advanced audio profiles, and I'll explain why that's important in just a minute. In terms of Wi-Fi capabilities, the Invoke supports 802.11 BGN and AC, where the Echo is just BGN. Now, AC specifications by the Wi-Fi Alliance do allow for more bandwidth and throughput. I think in the case of a smart speaker, I don't know that's going to be necessarily critical, but it's nice to have that extra little bump on the Invoke side. But I really don't see that hindering performance, whether you're streaming audio or anything else. So I don't think that's going to be a huge difference between the two. In terms of power, the Invoke has a 40-watt amplifier I couldn't find the specifications for the amplifier on the Echo. I suspect it's somewhere in that same ballpark, because when you crank these things up playing back music, they both fill rooms with audio. So not a terribly big noticeable difference. Again, I think you could hear it a little bit in the Invoke because it was cleaner sounding audio all the way through the power range, where the Echo started to distort a little bit. But again, these both got really, really loud. They both filled a good sized room full of sound. So again, I don't think it's a terrible difference there, but it is a difference. In terms of physical dimensions, it's clear that the Invoke is bigger. It's 9.5 inches by a 4.2 inch diameter, where the Echo is right about 6 inches by a 3.5 inch diameter. Diameter wise, they feel about the same. There's not a noticeable difference, but clearly there is in height. And weight wise, the Echo comes in at right about 30 ounces, where the Invoke came in right about 44 ounces. So extra material, probably a little bit larger magnet for the speakers. In terms of color options, the Invoke gives you two color options: a charcoal gray, as well as what they call a silver pearl. And then with the Echo, you've got multiple fabric colors. I believe there's like 7 different shells that you can get for the Echo. There's like 4 or 5 fabric colors, and then 2 or 3 different textures, right? So you can get a aluminum sort of brush finish on it. You can get I think it's a bamboo or something like that, a wood kind of finish on it. But do note that the different finishes on the Echo do cost more. So if you want something other than the fabric finish, it's about an extra $20 adder. So in terms of pricing then, the MSRP on the Invoke is $199, and the MSRP on the Echo is $99. I got both of these units on sale. I bought the Echo off of Amazon for $79, and I bought the Invoke at the Microsoft store for $99. You can get these same deals online right now. How long it's going to remain on sale, I don't know, but there's a quick look in terms of just paper specs of how these things line up. Let's take a look at these things in action and how they work. Okay, so the first thing to notice is that both these things, the build quality, the materials used, they both feel like very quality devices. The fit and finish on them is just really nice. There's no visible seams, there's no cheap plasticky feel to them or anything. Both feel very, very solid. They're both meaty in weight. They're both really, really good. The terms of audio quality, they both sound really good. No complaints against the Echo, but when you do it, compare it side by side to the Invoke is noticeably better. Just kind of richer sound, better highs, better lows, better mid-range, less distortion at higher volumes. So it's Harman Kardon, right? These guys know how to make speakers. There is a noticeable difference there. In terms of just general functionality, they both do a lot of the same basic stuff. So they can both do reminders, they can both do counters, they can updates, they can both do alarms and timers and all of that kind of stuff. So they offer the same sort of features and functionality. They both control lighting, for example. They both work with all the major Insteons and very Philips lighting and robot vacuums and all that kind of stuff. So they've all got the same basic feature set. Now there are some differences that I'm going to get into here in just a minute, and show you some of those, or at least talk through some of those to give you a feel for what each of them does, because there are things that the Echo can do that the Invoke cannot do. And there are some things that the Invoke can do that the Echo cannot do. So, it all depends on, what you're looking for in terms of a smart speaker as to, which one's going to best meet your needs. And that's even true across the Google Home one. I don't have that here because I'm not a big Google user, so it didn't make much sense for me to pick one up. Let's dive in and see how they do. You can see first off, these are both muted, so I'm going to turn the mute off on both of them. And so now they're both kind of in a listening mode. So let's start with some of the basics. So, Alexa, what's the weather outside?
Currently in Bellevue, it's 34 degrees with fog. Today, you can expect lots of clouds with a high of 48 degrees and a low of 33 degrees.
Hey Cortana, what's the weather outside?
It's partly sunny and 33, with partly sunny skies and a high of 43 in the forecast. There's also an air stagnation advisory in effect until 12 p.m. on Monday, the 11th.
So they're pulling from a little bit different weather sources, but it's interesting. I just noticed that the Echo was reporting clouds, where the Invoke was reporting sunny. I guess one's a little more optimistic than the other. Interesting, anyway. Let's move on to another skill. So, how about an alarm? So, Alexa, set an alarm for 10 seconds.
10 seconds, starting now.
Guess it's a timer, sorry. But she knew what I was going for. Alexa, stop. Hey Cortana, set a timer for 10 seconds.
Starting the countdown at 10 seconds.
So you can see they both give you visual reminders or visual acknowledgement when they're listening and they're getting ready to take action. So it has those sort of basic functionality. You can do reminders, all that kind of stuff. So Alexa, set a reminder to walk the dog at 5 p.m.
Okay, I'll remind you at 5 p.m.
Hey Cortana, remind me to walk the dog at 5 p.m.
Sure thing. I'll remind you to walk the dog at 5 p.m. today. Sound good?
Yes.
Great.
So you can see that they all do that basic functionality. You can add appointments to calendars. So, hey Cortana, set a meeting on my calendar at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
All right. What do you want to call your event?
Sync meeting.
Sure. I'll add sync meeting for tomorrow at 3 p.m. to your calendar. Sound good?
Yes.
Sure thing.
Alexa, set a meeting on my calendar.
Sorry, I don't know that.
So there you can see one of the differences of the capabilities between these two, because one is tied into my Microsoft account. It knows what my calendar is. It knows what my email is, all that kind of stuff, and can respond accordingly. Where Alexa, called her name, cancel. Where the Echo can uses your Amazon login, and there's not really a calendar associated with that. But it should tie into your calendar because it should be able to pull your Gmail calendar or whatever it is that you're using and put stuff on there. But what I found, at least with the way we've got it set up here, is that when I've been able to add things to the calendar, I haven't been able to find it. It's not on my Outlook calendar, it's not on my Gmail calendar, so I'm not sure where it's going. So that's one of the things I'm still trying to sort through. You can check stocks, you can check the weather, you can check sports scores, all that kind of stuff. They all work the same way, and in general report back the same information. When it comes to the ability to play music, they both tie into different music services. Although the Echo has a lot more music services at its disposal, so it can do Sirius, it can do Spotify, it can do iHeartRadio, it can do Amazon Music, it can do Pandora, where with the Invoke, you've got Spotify, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn are the options today. Microsoft is working on Pandora, so that should be coming soon. So, they all kind of do that same sort of stuff. Now, where they start to differ then is in some of the capabilities, for example, that the Echo can do that you can't do on the Invoke. So an example of that would be flash briefings. So one of the things you can do with the Echo is you can program a set of predefined actions based upon a keyword, right? So if you come in and say good morning, it will give you a preset of responses. So you can tell it, okay, I want to know, when I come in and say good morning, I want to know the news, I want to know the weather, and I want the word of the day, or whatever it is. And when you come in and say good morning, it gives you all of that. That's called a flash briefing. So, the Echo can do that where you can't do that on the Invoke, at least not yet. Other things that this does is it can do a drop-in. So one of the things that is really nice is if you know somebody else with an Echo, or you've got another Echo in your home or an Echo Dot in your home, you can drop in on that other Echo. So an example in this case would be my daughter has an Echo in her kitchen, a second generation Echo just like this one, and we've set it up so that way she can drop in on ours or we can drop in on hers. And basically what it does then is it rings her Echo and starts setting a sort of ringing sound in her kitchen, and if she answers it, then it creates essentially a VoIP call between her Echo and ours, and so we can have these quick conversations, kind of like FaceTime or something like that, but it's just an Echo to Echo sort of experience. Likewise, if you have an Echo Dot or another Echo in your home, you can drop in on that one and use it almost like an intercom system in your home. So that's a really nice feature that you can't do with any of the other devices right now. That may be something that Microsoft and Harman Kardon are working on. I don't know, but I did find that that is a nice feature. Other things you can do with the Echo is, for example, you can, if you've got a Fire TV, for example, you can say, play, Blue Bloods on the Fire TV, and it will go find the Blue Bloods and cue that up and start playing it on the Fire TV. So, these are some really nice features that you can do with this that you can't do on other platforms. One other thing that I found that this does that the Invoke does not is, as I said, this supports the Bluetooth Advanced Audio Profiles. And so what that means is that I can actually connect this to another speaker. And so, for example, I've got a soundbar connected to my TV, and so I can actually connect this via Bluetooth to that soundbar and then play music to that soundbar. On the surface, that sounds really, really cool. What I found is that it's okay. Because what happens is it does connect, and I can give a command to the Echo, and it will start playing the music or whatever it is I want on that soundbar. But the volume, I'm not able to get the volume up out of that soundbar. So it does do it. I do hear it. It's at an okay volume. But if you try and crank it up, either by kicking up the volume here or by kicking up the volume on the soundbar, it just doesn't get that loud. I can actually get this louder and fill the room louder with this than I can with the soundbar, which actually has more amplification and better speakers and better subwoofer and all that kind of stuff. So, is it something I would use every day? Probably not. Is it a nice capability? Sure, if it worked better. But that's kind of the things that you can do on the Echo that you can't do on the Invoke. Now, what I can do on the Invoke that I can't do on the Echo is all based around Cortana. So I'm a Microsoft user in terms of my work PC, my phone and all that kind of stuff are all tied into my Microsoft account, and so when I set reminders, it shows up on all my devices. When I set alarms, it can show up on all my devices. When I set calendar appointments, it shows up on all my stuff. And so I can do, for example, location-based reminders. So give you an idea of what that is. Hey Cortana, set a reminder to pick up milk the next time I'm at Costco.
Sure. Remind you to pick up milk when you get to Costco. Is that right?
Yes.
Great.
So now what happens is when I go, next time I go to Costco, my phone knows where I'm at. It'll actually pop up a reminder on my phone saying, hey, I noticed you're at Costco. Don't forget to pick up milk, right? So it's those kinds of things that you can do with the Invoke and Cortana that you can't do on other platforms. So, you know, these become really, really powerful if you're invested into the Microsoft ecosystem and Cortana and all that kind of stuff. You won't find that. Now, I did find that, you know, calendars and everything work better on the Invoke than they do on the Echo. That the reminders I think are a little bit better because I can do people-based reminders and stuff like that. So I can tell it, hey, you know, next time I talk to Valerie, which is my wife, you know, remind me to tell her about, you know, XYZ, or, you know, those kinds of things. So whenever she would call me, or if she texted me, or if she emailed me, because Cortana knows who she is and has her contact information in the notebook, it will pop up that reminder based upon that person. So you can do those kinds of things. Cortana understands relationships and stuff because you know, she keeps all this information in the notebook about you and what your connections are, and so she can do a little bit more things that way. So that's really, really cool, you know, if you're looking for those kinds of things out of a personal assistant. As I said, they can both do phone calls, so try that right now. So Alexa, call Jay Taylor.
Calling Jay Taylor's mobile.
And so we should see it, yep, pop up right there. And, you know, I can do the same thing with Cortana, so I can say, hey Cortana, call Jay Taylor.
All right. Jay Taylor. Which number? Skype or mobile?
Mobile.
Calling Jay Taylor. Mobile.
And once again, it calls my cell phone. So,
Hanging up.
those are things that you can do on both platforms, which are really nice and convenient, and, you know, really good communication tool. Some of the other things you can do on Invoke, there is a capacitive touch screen up here. So if I tap it once,
What if there were no hypothetical questions?
it gives me a you know, a little joke of the day or a little fun fact or something like that with just the touch of a button. If I touch it longer, it puts it in listening mode. So now I can give it a command
I'm
or something
sorry.
like that.
I can't help with that now, but I'm learning.
So, you know, you can do all of those kinds of things. If you're in the middle of an activity with Cortana, you just tap it and it'll cancel it. So you hang up a phone call or something like that, where you don't really have that sort of capability because you don't have a capacitive touch surface on here. So, you know, minor differences. In terms of skills, there are significantly more skills available on the Echo than there are on the Invoke or Cortana. But you know, that's a good thing and a bad thing. So, you know, one of the problems that I found is, if you think back to when smartphones first came out, there were a lot of apps hitting the App Store in a hurry, and a lot of it was just useless garbage, novelty apps and things like that. Well, that same sort of thing is happening with the skills things, because the skill is really just an app built for this platform. And so there's a lot of novelty skills out there, and they're just kind of a waste of time. You know, my wife enabled one on here. Let me just show you this real quick. Alexa, open the box of cats. Why you would want a meowing cat, I don't know. She did it to annoy our dog, I guess. but you know, it's just one of those novelty skills, and there's lots of those. So you have to sort through all of that to find the ones that are actually going to be useful to you. And so, you know, you will find the same thing starting to happen on Cortana. It's not as bad yet because there's not as many skills for the platform just yet. Because this just came out in October of 2017. This has been out, well, second generation has been out a while, but you know, the platform itself has been out for about 3 years. So it's got a bigger jump on the competition, if you will. One of the interesting things to make your challenge just a little bit more complex is Microsoft and Amazon have announced a collaboration where they're going to make Cortana work on Amazon devices, and mute that. Alexa is going to actually work on Cortana devices. So when Alexa comes over to Cortana, then you'll be able to say, you know, Cortana, open Alexa and do this. And so all the Alexa skills will then become available for Cortana. Likewise, when Cortana shows up on the Alexa platform, all your calendar and all that kind of stuff is now going to be available on the Echo. So you're going to see a lot more parity all of a sudden between these two devices when those platforms go live. So you know, that creates a little bit more challenge about, well, which one do you get? Well, I think it boils down to a couple of different things, right? First off, what are you looking for out of a smart assistant? You know, are you looking for something that is kind of more capable with more stuff, can control, you know, things like the Fire TV and stuff like that? Then maybe this is the guy for you. You know, it's a good all-around player. It connects to a lot of different music services and all that kind of stuff. The music quality, the speaker quality is pretty good. So it's not bad. It is actually a nice thing. I actually got this for my wife. And you know, the drop-in capability, so we can talk to our daughter across the country, is really nice. But you know, another thing to consider then is, what platform are you actually invested in? Because I do everything based on my Microsoft account, my calendar and my, you know, contacts and my phones and all that kind of stuff is rooted in my Microsoft account. Having Cortana is actually a really nice feature because it does tie into more of my personalized needs. And so I already use Cortana a lot today for, you know, various reminders and calendar appointments and setting up meetings and all that kind of stuff. And so this just fits in really, really nicely for what I need. If you are a Google and Android user, so you're using Gmail, you're using Google Calendars, you're using all the tools that Google is bringing to the table, then the Google Home might be a better platform for you. So because it's going to do a better job of managing, you know, your contacts and your lifestyle the way you're used to. So you know, I think it really kind of boils down to those couple of things. If you're looking for just a smart music player with really good quality, then, you know, the Invoke might be the right one for you, because this is a really good speaker. You know, and you know, I think at $200 it might be a little bit on the high side. You know, I was able to get this for $99, and therefore I think that's a great price for this. That's a great price for any Bluetooth speaker, let alone a smart speaker. So, you know, that's why I didn't have a problem picking up both of these and trying them out and seeing, you know, how well they work. I think I'm going to end up holding on to both of them just because they both work really, really well. So, you know, there you have it. If you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, please subscribe, leave those questions and comments below. If you've got some tips, if you've got one of these devices and you're using it every day, share what you like, share what you don't like, share how you're using it. You know, let others benefit from your experience. So there you have it. That's a quick overview of each platform. Do look for some of the upcoming videos. So I am going to do a little bit more in-depth review of the Cortana Invoke, and I'm also going to do a little bit more in-depth review of the Echo and show a little bit more about what these things do and how they work, so that way you can get a sense of you know, what are the pros and cons of each one. So Again, please subscribe and, let me know what you think.